Of Osu to free medical screening.
And in business this evening, stakeholders in the agricultural sector call for strengthening of infrastructure to increase revenue and competitiveness.
And on the international front tonight, Catalan Regional Parliament declares independence from Spain, while Spanish Parliament approves direct rule over the region.
We've got the details of these stories for you here on News 360, including the latest from the world of sports and entertainment. We're streaming live on 3news.com as well as TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
Let's go on to our first story this evening, where the Ghana Tourism Authority has temporarily closed down a hotel in Accra ahead of a planned sex party on Saturday. Activities of the party were explicitly advertised in circulated posters on social media, and also hard copies. The Naughty Rebel House Party promised patrons side attractions like blowjob, sex, dick massage, body massage, and threesome sex. The advertised activities came with different charges ranging from 50 cedis to 250 cedis. Aside the 50 cedis gate fee to be charged, the Ghana Tourism Authority, supported by the police today, moved to close the hotel located at Bawe.
Alfred, this is a particularly big issue. It may seem like it's not done out in the open here in this part of the world too much. However, I'm just going to run you by some published sex party stories on the internet, just so we get an idea of what's been faring in this regard. Dismissed sex party students of Damongo SHS speak. That's a story published by GhanaWeb.com. And on the 29th of June 2017, so this is recent as well, over 20 students arrested for organizing a sex party, and that's by educationghana.net. And these are all students. I mean, this is obviously the youth who are active in this regard. 28 students caught having a sex party. That was published on GhanaNewsAid.com. So this is just to give an idea and to confirm the fact that this is not particularly new. It's been going on for some time, and it's a pretty concerning issue in as much as it doesn't seem like it's done out on the open too much. And we're going to be probing this issue a little further, Alfred, right?
Absolutely. That's a clear reflection, at least with what we've seen so far, a clear indication that this is a growing incidence in this country. I've been joined on the telephone by the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Mr. Ajiman, good evening to you, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Now, we have shown at least that this is a growing trend in this country. When did you become aware of the incidence of sex party in Ghana?
All right, thank you. I believe we've been monitoring the space in terms of activities happening in the various hotels and establishments that we license. And we've seen some communication going on social media, advertising sex parties. And so we set in place a task force to monitor and try and track them, because as we all know, prostitution is an illegal activity by the laws of the country. Although we are not necessarily the ones enforcing that law, once it happens in a hotel, which then becomes a brothel, then it's up to us to make sure that it is stopped, and that is exactly what we have done.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's a task force in place which is monitoring this incidence of sex party which is growing in this country.
Yes, we have put in place a task force as part of our enforcement activities, monitoring especially the hotels, because like I indicated, although prostitution is an illegal activity, it's not part of our mandate to be going onto the streets, to be arresting people, and that is the work of the law enforcement agency. But when it happens within an establishment that we license, and in this case a hotel, a nightclub, or a restaurant, then we have to take the necessary steps to stop it, and that is what the task force has been mandated to do.
Now, the question was being asked, I mean, this has been going on. I mean, this social media publication of such parties has been going on for quite a while now. I recall some that happened in Kumasi, some also in Takoradi as well, which we saw openly advertised on social media. Now, so why did it have to take you this long?
It's not taking us this long. You know, sometimes, I mean, we've been tracking. For example, this particular incident of this lady calling herself Ginger Camera, we've been tracking her. But whenever they advertise, we send people there because sometimes you want to see that it's happening. It's not just somebody photoshopping something and putting it out there on social media. So we've been tracking. We go around. Sometimes guys go there and nothing happens. There's a no-show. Sometimes once somebody calls a line and they feel that it's a straight call, then they abandon the plan. So we've been on their heels for some time now. And, you know, chasing up on some of these activities takes time. And we're happy that at least we just didn't stop it. We have somebody in custody. So the law enforcement agencies will then follow up with the necessary investigations to make sure that this thing is stopped once and for all.
But how did this particular one come to your notice, that there was indeed going to be a sex party that you zoomed in?
Like I indicated, we've been monitoring. We have people who monitor social media to check out for some of these activities. And as and when we get notice, we send out the enforcement team. So this one we did send out, but truth be told, it's the same group that had advertised something last week at another nightclub. We went there and it was a no-show. This time we got there and we got lucky with a whistleblower who told us that yes, he's also got the wind of it. And so once they came in to make payment for the hotel that they had hired for that activity, we managed to swoop in and then with the police got them arrested. And so I would say we got lucky this time because many a times when we tried tracking them, they ran away. They abandoned the program. I think we have some group who know themselves. So through WhatsApp and other means, they're able to connect and meet. Sometimes we get there and they say, oh, it didn't happen yesterday. You guys are late. And so we've been following up. And I think we want to make an example of this one so that we can use it to help the situation.
But go on. Is there going to be prosecution or you're just closing the hotel down?
No, as I indicated, there are two issues that we are looking at. Prosecution is left to the law enforcement agencies in terms of dealing with prostitution. That one is not within our remit. Our remit is making sure that the hotels are not turned into brothels. And so in that case, we have closed down the hotel as a precautionary measure. I think the necessary penalties will be applied. And it goes to all the establishments who are also allowing people to come and use. I don't think it's the hotel owner who is organizing this. But once you allow the hotel to be used as a brothel, then you cannot escape the law. And so there are two issues at play here. Right. The law enforcement agencies are dealing with the issue of prostitution. We are dealing with the issue of the hotel being used as a brothel.
Right. Zajiman, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
As the CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority on the growing incidence of sex parties in Ghana.
Well, let's now turn our attention to agriculture now, as over 80 hectares of farmlands under the Planting for Food and Jobs project have been destroyed by 2 days of continuous rains at Sechi in the western region. About 40 farmers have been badly affected. Here's a report by Collins Entry.
The affected farmers are located at Omanhini New Site, a suburb of Sefi, Tanoso and Nsuensua farm area, all in the Sefi municipality. A team of stakeholders, including the municipal NADMO officials, BNI and the municipal Western Regional Agricultural officials, visited the scene to ascertain the cause of damage and the way forward. The municipal agric officer of Sefi William Sapia, said over 80 hectares of rice, maize, okra and other farm crops have been destroyed. Some of the farm owners appealed to government to, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid. Alhaji Salifu, the Western Regional Director of Agriculture, said he has directed a team of crop evaluators to evaluate the cost of the damage and determine the support needed.
Now, the paramount stool, Jaseche Ni Yaote Otoga II, has denounced Kevin Taki as Gamanche. At a news conference in Accra on Friday, he vowed to resist any attempt to give him that recognition.
My name is Dr. Ni Tetekwe II, the principal kingmaker of the Ghana state, otherwise Ghana Jaseche.
A claimant as the Jaseche, the kingmaker Dr. Ni Tetekwe II. In less than a week, with a sharp response, another emerges as the Jaseche of the Ghana paramount stool.
The Ghana paramount stool, Jase,
a defiant paramount stool, Jase, fired up to resist any imposition. They are resolute. Earlier this week, Kelvin Taki was outdoored as Gamanche amidst pomp and pageantry. This outdooring, the other claimants have distanced themselves from.
He's been going round. I think he has made himself Gamanche about four or five times at various places. One at Dakuma, even before Ni was buried. Front page of the graphic, he was there saying he's the new Gamanche, and he has got gold on the heart. Guys, we don't wear gold.
Government officials were not spared.
It appears that the government is at this time assuming power in Ghana to interfere with the installation of Gamanche, and it tells we should be the Gamanche.
He again says the chieftaincy minister has recognized the existence of Ni Adamalache as a rightful Gamanche.
The two removed from Ni the Victor coming drove away all members of the Ghana Jase from the Gamanche schoolhouse and allowed the reverends to perform certain customary rites to purport to install Kentucky in a position they call Gamanche. We have one Gamanche, Ni Adamalache. Apart from him, there's no.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says government will not relent on its commitment to ensuring the rule of law. Speaking at the 2017 Mayem Festival at Ejumasi Krobo in the Eastern region, the president charged the people to unite to promote development.
The Mayem Festival is a celebration of the abundant harvest of the Ma, which refers to the millet. It is also to thank the gods for the harvest and pray for protection in the coming year. The Klomache, Kono of Manya Krobo, Nene Sakite II, called for a united front to promote development.
Harmony among our chiefs, determined economic activity, life in the spirit of love and consideration of the neighbor, all go to benefit the whole community.
President Akufo-Addo charged the chiefs of Krobo land to unite to ensure socio-economic development in the area.
A major bane of our nation's socio-economic development has been chieftaincy disputes. They have resulted in full-blown conflicts, threats to our nation's peace and stability, destruction of property, and the loss of lives, closure of educational and health facilities, separation of family, amongst others. Manya Krobo has had its fair share of disputes, with some still unresolved. And I suggest it is time we brought them, indeed all other disputes across the country, to an end.
Speaking about the recent Sisala youth disturbances in the Upper West region, the president reiterated government resolve to make the law work.
The application of the laws of the land will occur, in the words of the judicial oath, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and without recourse to the political, religious, or ethnic affiliations of any citizen of the land. When you fall foul of the law, you will be dealt with accordingly, and the law enforcement agencies, including the judiciary, must ensure that this is done. A
group identifying itself as Young Patriots of Tamale say The assembly members calling for the impeachment of the Tamale mayor are aggrieved because he refused to award them contracts. The group has vowed to resist any attempt to tarnish the image of the mayor. Here's a report by Zubaida Ismail.
Some assembly members on Tuesday, October 24, issued a release to begin an impeachment process against the Tamale mayor, Idrisu Musa Superior. 31 out of 58 assembly members claimed in the petition that the assembly under Musa Superior pays a 61 tax force to the tune of 9,150 cedis monthly for no work done. They also claim that the mayor is hostile and takes decisions without consulting the assembly members. But in a counter release read on behalf of the Young Patriot by the group's secretary, Abdul Ganiu Mankarigu, it has warned the petitioners to either back down or be prepared to face the supporters of the mayor. The group also revealed that the aggrieved assembly members have teamed up against the mayor because of his refusal to award them contract.
This is a man who will be in the office to consult with the people. You will not go there and say you should go and camp the next day. Okay. He will make sure he attends you. He leaves the office when he sees that there is nobody sitting beside the secretary to visit him.
They have warned, among other things, that if the assembly members proceed with the impeachment process, they should be prepared to lose their positions in the next election.
What they are doing here is a great work. So we need more men to come and help us. If the task force do not come out one day to supervise what is happening on the streets, you will see what the mess happening on the streets. You will lament. If they don't come out for one day, you will see what is going to happen.
The mayor, in an earlier statement, has refuted all the allegations against him, describing them as baseless. He, however, indicates that he will avail himself for the impeachment process as he is not afraid of the outcome.
Now, groups alleged to be associated with the ruling MPP have continued to terrorize Ghanaians with impunity since the last election. President Akufo-Addo has directed the police to deal decisively with the negative vigilantism in the country. But how well is the police responding to his call?
Wrongdoing has no political color, and I do not subscribe to the lawlessness of political party supporters simply because their party has been elected into office. I condemn all such conduct, and I call on all political parties, especially the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, to ensure that this is the last time such undignified acts occurring during our periods of transition. Mr. Speaker, when those incidents began, I instructed the then Inspector General of Police, John Kudalo, to apply the law, irrespective of political affiliation, to all lawbreakers. This instruction was also carried on to his successor, David Asante Apietu.
There have been widespread reports of thuggery by alleged supporters of the governing New Patriotic Party across the country. On Thursday, October 26, for instance, an MPP youth group in the Sisala West District allegedly chased the district chief executive, Muhammad Baku, out of his office at Gwolu. They are also alleged to have vandalized some property. In all these, the police has not been able to make any arrest. So, is the police overwhelmed by the actions of these groups?
No. You see, it is our duty, our mandate, to ensure law and order. But what somebody intends doing, or crime he has intended to commit, sometimes we are unable to prevent it. It does happen, and it is for us to respond accordingly. They will occur. But our response and how we are able to manage it is what is important.
Could it be that the police are being manipulated, especially when dealing with vigilante groups?
When crimes are committed, we don't give it any color. It's crime. So we deal with it as that. As a police officer, we deal with crimes. If you are from a political party, you commit a crime, we're going to deal with you accordingly and not as somebody coming from another political party.
For now, Guineans will have to keep their fingers crossed as the police try to overcome the challenge of dealing with vigilantism.
Let's just stay with the IGP just a little further, because the police administration has begun deploying more men to Langar-prone areas to deal with the menace. Responding to questions from the media in Accra, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, says the menace has become a national threat which should be removed and not be allowed to take root.
Activities of armed land guards, according to the police, are a major threat to land developers. The land guards are often organized by either landowners and sometimes developers, with a primary aim to protect their landed property. These land guards have developed into violent armed group terrorizing people who are developing their lands, especially in the Greater Accra region and places with fast housing development. The Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, linked the development to what he termed complex technical situations.
Why are these people land guards problem and other things? It's not because the police is not able to police areas. But if you look also at our land tenure system, are we able to determine who owns the land, police for example, so that immediately we can know what to do? But if you go and somebody who even owns the land has sold it to too many people, it creates a problem. Then you turn to the police and say that the police should go and handle it. There are also people who legitimately own lands, but they also have land guards. It's a very complex issue, but we are doing as much as we can. In fact, also going to engage stakeholders in managing the system.
But how is the police going to deal with the land guard issue?
It may not be a sudden thing. We are now putting containers at certain land guard-prone areas, and police officers will be put there, in a bid to address some of this concern.
He urged housing owners to use legal means to land dispute, warning the youth to be wary of the kind of profession to engage in.
In other news this evening, another prosecution witness in the trial involving the murder of former Upper East Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Adams Mahama, has told the Accra High Court that Gregory Afoko was responsible for Adams Mahama's death. According to Tofik Murtala, the deceased, while on his bed at the hospital, spoke with him before his demise.
His statement supports the evidence given to the court by the wife of Adams Mahama, Hajia Zainabu Adams, who also appeared as a witness some months ago. Hajia Zainabu Adams also alleged that 52-year-old Gregory Afoko and Wan Asabki killed the former Upper East Regional Chairman of the NPP with acid. Led in evidence by a chief state attorney, Matthew Amponsa, Tofik revealed that on the day the Upper East Regional Chairman of the NPP was murdered, they had met at a construction site for some discussions till 6 p.m., after which they went for a meeting with some Boku NPP youth. According to Tofik, the meeting ended at about 10:30 p.m. He, however, received a call later from the wife of Adams Mahama, who asked him to rush to the regional hospital because something had been poured on her husband. He recounted that at the hospital, the former NPP chairman, who was wailing in pain, summoned him to his bedside and told him Gregory Afoko and Asabki poured the substance on him. He added that Mahama said he did not want to die without telling him about those who killed him. Gregory Afoko, in May 2015, was charged with conspiracy to commit crime and murder of Adams Mahama, and he pleaded not guilty to the charges. An autopsy report has indicated Adams Mahama died of extensive acid burns and shock lungs. Meanwhile, Gregory's alleged accomplice, Asabki, is still on the run. The Accra High Court has adjourned the case to October 31.
And as part of activities marking TV3's 20th anniversary, Media General, in collaboration with Nescofa Blood Tonic from NS Chemist Finas Pharmacy, has treated residents of Osu and adjoining communities to a free health screening exercise earlier today. The aim was to give back to society to consolidate the relationship.
Patients were taken through eye screening, blood sugar level checks,
hypertension and hepatitis B screening.
It's a good exercise because so far we've identified some people who have hypertension who did not even know that they had hypertension, and we've given them the necessary advice.
More than 350 people benefited from the exercise. We thank you for thinking about our health. Most of us go to the hospital only when something happens.
A poor community having the benefit of free health care. I mean, what else do you think?
Managers of MG Group say there is no better way to give back to society than to consolidate relations.
Our focus areas are in health, in education, and community development as a whole. So over the years, we supported a lot of educational institutions, whether it's directly paying fees for people who obviously don't have the means to pay their own fees, or partnering with other institutions to build facilities and to build infrastructure. And also in terms of health, we've supported a lot of institutions like the Kolebu Heart Center. We continue to work with the Cancer Center in Kolebu, and a host of other things. So basically it's holistic for us.
TV3 has always believed in giving back to society in a more meaningful way, and on our 20th anniversary we know we can reach as many people as much as possible through a health screening program. And so today we are checking tuberculosis, we are checking hepatitis, we're checking hypertension, we're checking blood sugar, we're doing an eye screening. These are health conditions that we have to deal with every day, that are killing thousands of people every day. But we believe that if detected early, they can be managed.
Now, the Minister of Information, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, has pledged to push for the passage of the Rights to Information Bill at the next sitting of Parliament. Speaking at the Media Foundation for West Africa's Excellence Conference, he said 17 years is long overdue for the passage of the bill. He's promised that his outfit would implore Cabinet to give the necessary approval.
The Media Foundation for West Africa and its partners have been at the forefront in a fight for press freedom, media professionalism and good governance across West Africa. This advocacy has led to multiple independent and diversely owned media across the region. Founder and board member of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Professor Kwame Kakari, reviews the foundation has played major roles in ending dictatorial rules in Burkina Faso and the Gambia.
Contributed to the fight of the Gambian people eventually to force Yaya Jammeh out of the country. In Burkina Faso, we mounted a campaign for justice for a journalist, Norbert Zongo, who was murdered. And that civil society movement continued, seeking justice, seeking democratization, and ultimately ended in getting rid of the dictatorship of Compaoré.
The executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, says in spite of the progress made towards press freedom in the region, there's more room for improvement.
There are still legitimate concerns in terms of safety for journalists, in terms of the quality of journalism in the region.
The Minister for Information, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, said without the media, no nation can make progress in its democratic aspirations. He assures of government's commitment to ensuring a better media in the country. He also promised the passage of the Rights to Information Bill.
This is something that has been in the works for 17 years. And quite frankly, I think that 17 years is a long time. And for whatever reason, we need to bring finality to that matter. And we are determined that in our government, we'll bring finality to the matter of the Right to Information Bill. Hopefully, by the next sitting of Parliament, we should be able to take it to Parliament.
This bill is 17 years, one of the oldest bills in Parliament. Edem Senano is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Edem, there's been verbal commitments from governments gone by and present. Are you convinced in any way what you're hearing?
Good evening, Alfred. Yes, there's a sense in which I would say we are convinced that there is some commitment to doing this. Let me first put this into context. Let's not forget that at the last sitting of the previous government, it was the then minority, now majority, that appeared to put the brakes on getting this right to information bill passed. So there's a sense in which we hold them responsible for the lack of passage in the immediate past. Having said that, as I said, I think in some earlier edition of this program, the president, in the meeting between the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition and himself and some ministers a few months back, made a commitment to having the bill laid before Parliament by the end of the year. And so the minister is not the first to have made this particular statement. The president himself has made that commitment, and we believe that he's serious about it. So yes, there's a sense in which we believe that this is serious. I think it's more important that even though a policy statement has been made, that the rest of us, civil society and media, hold them accountable to these policy statements.
It appears to be quite difficult when there are no timelines to hold them to such verbal commitments. But this time they've been given an indication that by the next sitting of Parliament, we should do this. And should we not see this happen, then what next for you? And then, I mean, from the media entirely. Okay. Mr. Nano seems so we have a little challenge.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Nano.
I can hear you, yeah.
Yes, I was saying that it becomes a bit difficult when there are no timelines to hold on to such statements that are made. But talking about the second sitting of Parliament, that's what he said. What do we do from here?
I think that at least the commitment to having it laid, indeed in that meeting that included the Attorney General, they pointed out that Cabinet was going to have to pour through the many pages and make sure that the various clauses and statements had been reviewed. And they were making the commitment to making the extra hours to do their part and take it before Parliament by the end of the year. I think we ought to hold the President and his government to that commitment to laying it before Parliament by the end of the year. And if there is a subsequent commitment in terms of what Mustafa said, well, that only adds to some sense of the timelines that they expect to work in. Let's hold them to that.
Okay. Thank you, Senano, for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Adam Senano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption.
Thanks for staying with us. Still on News 360. Good evening. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. And the newly launched digital addressing system has been criticized widely on issues about safety and security on the data of individuals. But the Minister of Communication, Esla Ekufo, has ruled out any form of insecurity and says measures have been put in place to solve any form of interference. Government has welcomed criticisms raised on the security of the digital address app by experts. Some issues like internet connectivity and usability and the originality of the idea by software developers Vocacom have been among the key concerns. Additionally, the procurement process has also been questioned.
The Vocacom bid was actually the lowest evaluated bid. The highest evaluated bid came in at 170 million. What does the price include? It includes the solution, the service, the marketing campaign, and that marketing campaign alone is in the neighborhood of about 3.5 million Ghana cedis. Addressing the press on the current developments regarding the new software facility, Communication Minister Esla Ekufo rules out any forms of insecurity.
But as to whether or not we have had this system security tested, they informed me that it has been done. So for whatever concerns that they have, even the national ID database alone is not accessible to anyone without the proper security controls. So the fact that we have linked databases doesn't mean it makes it susceptible to identity theft. Aside formalizing the informal sector, the addressing system is also expected to improve revenue collection in the country. The local government service, the utility companies, the tax authorities, all those who provide some form of government service or other that people are hiding from paying for those services, they would be able to track and trace and collect those revenues better. And you would also be able to use that digital address to attract even more business to you because you'll be easier to locate.
With a new addressing system expected to be used in the national ID card next month, some experts have urged government to resolve the issues before the ID cards project rolls out. Now, some stakeholders in the agricultural sector say infrastructure systems should be strengthened to increase revenue and competitiveness of agri-based exports. The Ghana Investments Promotion Authority says non-traditional export earnings dropped by 2.3% in 2016.
Experts say for the revenue of traditional exports to increase, agricultural produce in the country should conform to applicable standards for export to international markets. At a forum organized by the Ghana Standards Authority on Quality Infrastructure Services for Agriculture and Food Export, the Director General, Professor Alex Dodu, said food safety and quality requirements cannot be overlooked in agri-based exports.
If all exporters come to us as the law requires, for us to ensure that the standards that of the countries they are exporting to are met, I think business will move very fast and the industrializing agenda will move on very, very fast quickly.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Eric Amuakuchum, says the authority is putting measures in place to reach its target of $10 billion from non-traditional export NTEs in the next 4 years.
We are going to exceed the targets as opposed to last year, 2016. But then, you know, now the focus is also moving away from just the exporting of the raw produce and adding value. And of course, when you add value, the value also basically increases.
Other speakers at the forum noted improved marketability of agricultural products, food safety, and increasing productivity of local value chains would increase the country's export revenue.
All right, so as the weekend starts today, let's quickly look at how the Ghana cedi performed against its major trading currencies. Well, for the cedi and the euro, that is the dollar and the euro, it remains stable there on the interbank market, but it appreciated a bit for the cedi to the pound, and it's still at 4 Ghana cedis 37 pesos, same as yesterday and even 2 days ago. From Wednesday, Thursday, Friday has been stable, and for the cedi to that of the Great British pound, still at 5 Ghana cedis 73 pesos, but it appreciated a bit from 5 Ghana cedis 17 pesos to 5 Ghana cedis 07 pesos there, and it's being sold to at the same rates. The Forex is definitely will differ from one end to the other. Let's see how the weekend goes. Great weekend. Good evening. I'm Nanekia Mensah-Brampa.
News 360, some breaking news just coming through here. The Karaga constituency chairman of the new Patriotic Party, Tahiru Zakari, has been arrested with 3 others suspected to be part of those who caused the disturbances at Karaga. The rest are Baba Ali Osman, Mohammed Al Hassan and Abdullah Ziblim. The suspects were identified to the police by the Karaga DC. They were arrested on their way from Tamale to Karaga this evening and have actually been brought back to Tamale. The chairman had earlier refused to honor an invitation from the Regional Police Command to assist in police investigations. They are currently in custody. So that's the breaking news just coming through. Arrest being made in the Karaga constituency about the disturbances a couple of days ago in that area. There's going to be a lot more on this on subsequent bulletins here on News at 10 on TV3. So stay with us as we get into it.
Certainly, Alfred, but let's now take a look at what's making news on the entertainment front.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
In entertainment this evening, veteran highlifer Irama Baidu gave up the ghost in the late hours of Thursday, October 26, at the Ifijiase Government Hospital. Aside being a great composer, Irama, aged 72, was a fun-loving person and very much obsessed with the Azonto craze. Here's a report.
The
is a Rama Badu. I'm still a Rama Badu.
The last time we met, it was at a musical event, and this is the second time. We are talking about the love factor. It's happening tomorrow. Families will be passing through, and you'll be live in concert. Let's talk about tomorrow and what will be happening.
Okay, because of this, how my people, my family, have heard of my coming here to perform. They've been calling me. My people are calling me. I think we've heard of you. If you are coming here, so what are you doing? I'll be singing. Don't forget that I'm another's Kum Diamini, you see. So I'll be dancing and singing at the same time. But I have told them how I'm going to dance my azonto and others. As I told you last time, azonto to me is the funnest of all the dances. We are dancing this way. I don't know where it comes from and how the thing find me. It find me, pa.
Alright, so Rama Badu, you like azonto very well, and on the nights you're going to be doing some special azonto.
How to dance azonto and the Akaida. This is a Rama Badu. I'm still a Rama Badu.
That was an interesting flashback.
This is a Rama Badu. She still remains a Rama Badu in the hearts of minds
certainly.
and many people. May her soul continue to rest in perfect peace. The worry is what she's taking away, whether we've been able to tap enough from her to be able to sustain it. Papa Youngson gone, Rama Badu.
True, a lot of legends gone.
It's
important to celebrate them.
Anyway, on that note, we'd want to thank you very much for spending some 60 minutes with us here on News 360. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred Akansi.
And I'm Natalie Force. We've got more news on our website, that's 3news.com. Remember, news at 10 days this evening will simulcast on 3FM 92.7. Next is Tashan. Have a great evening.